He says we should be practical. There's Nando's here. And you are looking it. Just take time to think of that smell. Eh? Are we together? Are we there? Yes. They say KFC, they just dump things, put spices. We're talking of Nando's here. So they put it there. Mina, I come with poison. Are we together? I show you this is poison. Then when I show you this is poison, I pour it on top of the Nando's. Even if it's odorless. Are we there, church? Even if it's odorless, the fact that you have seen poison being poured on it, even when you are salivating, you are going to stop. Are we together? So what's making you stop? It doesn't mean that the scent of the chicken has changed. But the mind now is no longer seeing chicken, it's seeing poison. So what really eats is not the tongue. Church, the stomach doesn't have eyes. We know that. The stomach doesn't have eyes. Actually, the moment you swallow, it takes about 0.15 seconds for food to go into the tongue. So that rapidity, you think the body is really, the body is not even thinking what to eat. Actually, it's your eyes which have seen and they tell the mind. Remember, all the senses are feeding the mind. But it's the mind which has memories of how Nando's taste. Are you there, church? Because the eyes only have seen and they see many things. But it's the body, the mind which then says when it looks at Nando's, it then tells, no, this is not just any other chicken. This is Nando's. So it is the mind. And that very same mind, when it is given information in the correct fashion, it can make you even make changes. So the challenges that we have is, for you to eat unhealthy, you need to fool your mind. What I'm trying to say, for you, because naturally, church, if I take someone here and I try to throw them, they will resist. Because naturally, your instinct is to save yourself from any harm. Your natural instinct is to save life at all costs. And that overrides even the taste. Church, taste is not even permanent. Do you know that? Taste is not permanent. Some of you are like, hey, I don't eat this. Hey man, this mind is very complex. Taste is not permanent. You can develop tastes of things. And you can even unlearn things. Are we together? The body is not like fixed, hardwired to say, this food only. It's you lying to the mind. Are we together? You see something, it thinks about it. You re-emphasize, yes, Nando's, yes, yeah. And as you are re-emphasizing, then you get hooked. And you even do these other things. Do you know the challenge why even these challenges are a problem, my elder? Is when you are busy, come, let's eat, jog, let's do this, let's eat. These people have issues happening in their homes. And they have things that they go to when they are feeling low. So when things are not happening well in your life, in your family, with your kids or with your husband, that thing which makes you feel human is when you are having that drink and it's you're like, kosiyami. Or it's that ice cream. Are we together? You just say, no, let me just go buy steers there. I just get an ice cream. I need to treat myself. Listen the language. I need to what? To treat myself. So we have used things that are not healthy to medicate our sorrows. So therefore, when the mind is eating, it's not concerned about what the food is. It's concerned about the feeling that you have after consuming the food. But remember, food is a chemical. Are we together, church? The food that we are eating are chemicals. Vitamins are actually chemicals. And chemicals, these are substances that are just designed by God. That they do what they were designed to do for. I think we know acid, ne? Yeah, if you pour acid, it doesn't matter that this is blue. It's going to change its color. Because that is the nature of the substance, which is the acid. So the same with food. It doesn't matter when you are taking an ice cream. Because when you are, licking it, how it makes you feel. And you really don't want disturbances there. Are we together? Yeah, you really take your time and you really, there is healing there. You medicate yourself. Fine, you feel that, you feel good. But the pounds are going to increase. The weight is going to increase because that is what is in the food. So therefore, what it means then, if the body can on itself protect you, but if you confuse it by associating food with relieving anxiety, relieving some stresses, therefore it means your way out, you now need a motivation. Are we together? You now need something that can say, no man, even if I need to do something, you need to have something. Are we together? That is giving you that drive, that is motivating you, that is empowering you, such that you can now dissociate yourself from your self-medication and even from lying to your mind. Right. So while we're at that now, so the second strata that we are talking about, that you can even change to the point that you are even shocked about the changes that you have made. Are we there, church? You can literally change to the point that who you were and who you are, they cannot be reconciled. But where we miss it now, this is where Adventists, you don't take advantage of the gospel. Do you see outside there, like people like us, like me, I no longer even open a practice. I don't even have even the passion of having a practice where I sit and advise people. No, I would rather waste my energy in doing research. Are we together? Why is I have a simple scenario. There's this lady who wanted to lose weight. So she was a radiographer. The husband was the radiologist. So the radiographer, the ones who took the x-rays, the husbands are the ones that interpret. So she had gained weight massively. Then I came with my nice computer, making sophisticated diets there, planning, eat this, do that. Every week we are meeting. And she's paying me every week. We come on the scale, no change. Come on. Look at everything, it makes sense. No change. Why? No change. But remember, change. We are just aging. Do this. It's not just a walk in the path. It's a process. So meaning, I was just young there, but reflecting now, I'm like, maybe I should have asked her, is everything well at home? I should have sat her down to say, look, what do you like to do when you're stressed? Are you someone who, when you're stressed, you resort to food? Because remember, there are two extremes. There are those who, when they are stressed, they don't eat at all. Yeah, those ones have no challenge with weight. But the ones who, when they are stressed, they eat too much. Hey, that's a problem. No matter what you can teach, you are just wasting time. You need to deal with the problem. What is igniting this? What is doing that? Otherwise, all your motivations are falling on deaf ears because you have not reached to the crust of the matter, which is the problem at hand. But even though with all those things, the challenge is there might also be someone who's desiring. He now has the will. But the challenge is they look at who they are and they look at where they need to go. And it's just like a big, big mountain. Have you done this? Maybe elders say I need to do it. Whereby you measure people. Measure their BMI. You measure the normal BMI. Then you say for you to get to normal weight, you need to lose like 50 kgs. Then you are telling to someone you need to lose 50 kgs. Week 1, they are jogging with you. Week 2, they are eating. Week 3, 1 month, nothing has changed. Or if at all, it's only 500 grams. That is if your scale is very sensitive. Otherwise, if it's not sensitive, you might just feel that nothing is happening. Because what we do not know, church, it's not what you do in a day, but it's what you repeatedly do. Losing weight is a compounding thing. To say you are doing little things and little things, they compound together. So that when it's falling off, it really does in tons. Are we together? Because it's now a lifestyle that you have. And you are now not even going to the scale. You are not even worried. But because you've adapted this lifestyle, then naturally, your body then gets into the optimal weight that you have. So the challenge then is, when someone is seeing that mountain, how can they? Like when someone thinks of the craving that they have for meat, then when I'm jumping, I'm calling in light, then they are looking and say, hey, what will I do now? Because they cannot imagine their life with that thing. But do you know where all the problem is? Do you know where all the problem is? So I ask you, church, why do we need a Savior? Why do we need a Savior? You see, that's the problem that we do every day at church. We should be careful of that. That the problem becomes the person. Are we together? It's your problem that you are in this. It's your problem. Are we together? Fine. Someone has to take responsibility. But if we read the Bible very well, what does it say? It says, can a leopard change his spots? So if I continue crying to a leopard, I'm really wasting time. Are we together? I'm really wasting time because a leopard is a leopard. Do you know that these habits that you have developed, they are now hardwired, they are hard-coded in you. That's why some messages, it comes, it goes there, because you can't relate to it. But why you can't relate to it? Because it's impossible for you to relate to it. Because the issue of changing is not you just changing. Are you there, church? The issue of changing is God rewiring you. Are we together? Is God real? So when David says, create a clean heart in me, this is why I stopped this thing. Because I realized that in as much as I will scream to people, people will never change unless they start to put God in the picture. When they have God in the picture and I come to them, I don't tell them it's their problem. I tell them, look at this man. He can bring you there. Are we together? So I've lifted the burden from the individual. I've given the battle to the owner. Who's the owner of the battle? Such that now, fine, they have a motivation from their family. But they have a savior who's going to help them to reach to that goal. So even if you look closely, I don't know if there are people who have reformed or changed. But if I look at myself, so I became a vegetarian in 2001. Now it's 21 years. So if I look to say, there were times where there was no meat at home, and my father is not at home, and maybe we find some meat which is not so smelling so well, we would brine it and eat it. So the question is, if I used to love meat that much, and the day I changed was just coming to church, are we together? Then someone says, no, Bazalwan, the role of God or the goal of God is not for us to eat these dead carcasses. God has created food for us, not this meat. Just from that word, then I come home and I tell my sister, me, I want to be a vegetarian. She laughed at me. My brother. And as she was laughing, then a thought comes to say, hey, I can just eat meat only for today. Then I start tomorrow. Did you get the idea? Yeah. But now another thought comes. This is a late. When you are young, I don't know if that happens in you. When you have an elder sister and you are the next guy, there's always that thing to say, no, Mina, I'm the man. I'm the man of the house. You are just a wife, a lady. But Mina, I'm the one. Yeah. So now she has loved. No, I need to prove. So there's that quest to say, I want to prove, I need. Then she says, no, relax tonight. There are even your other two siblings. They tried this thing. Now look where they are. They are with us. You won't be far. You won't be far. Hey, one day comes, I'm at it. Second day comes, I'm at it. Third day comes, I'm at it. Fourth day, hey, I'm reading all these books, Counsels on Health, Ministry of Healing, Counsels on Diet. I think I read tons of Ellen White, tons and tons. That was what was now in my mind. So as I'm reading, knowledge is power. Because knowledge empowers the mind to make the right decision. Because remember what I said, the body will do anything to preserve your health. So what makes you even struggle to make decisions is because you don't read about health. Are we together? If there's a book, the moment you just go to that, you skip. We know what they say. They just don't want us to stop our meat. then you flip over, is it? But sometimes it's not the issue to say change now. The issue is just have information. Are we together? Just have information. No, read. When they say this, just be open-minded. Are we together? As you are being open-minded, you are placing yourself in an environment where making decisions is easier. You are placing yourself in an environment where God can use that very message to help you make to the next trajectory. Week 2, a month is done. Second month is done. Third month is done. Come Christmas, there's problem at home. So now we're at Christmas, first Christmas of me not eating meat. Then my father has given his plate, he looks at me. And he says, Tinashe, my son, if people are going to walk in here and they see you eating beans and they see me here with a drumstick, what will they say? Then I'm like, no, it's just preference, personal choice and the like. Says, Tinashe, if people see me eat chicken and when now you're eating beans, when they say that I'm not a loving and responsible father. When fathers start to talk to you nicely, when they start talking to you nicely, it's almost like, let's not debate this. Otherwise, you're going to a point where you have to do it. So I've even respected you to come down to your level. To instruct, not to instruct you, but to convince you. But now you are persistent. The conversation then ended and says, no. When now you are my son, you grew up eating meat. And I know you like meat. It's only this church thing that is just messing you up. My father wasn't Adventist then. Then he says, no, so what you're going to do, Tinashe, is we're going to have a braai. And that braai is a men's braai. I was the only son then. It's only me and you. I'm going to buy a goat and we are braaiing the goat. Me and you. And I was told like a week before, like this is on Sunday. Next Sunday, we are braaiing. So as the week was moving on day by day, I'm questioning myself, hey, what will I do? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you guys grew in good times, but us, we're of the spanking era. We can't even count how many times that came on us. So it was a clear, you eat the meat. It was just clear. It was almost like you are in the army. You have been given a command. Turn right, you need to turn right. Hey, that's why now I'm praying about God. God, I have started to enjoy these things. And do you know the good thing? That's why I'm saying that when you're making these changes, some people are worried about weight. Weight is the last thing. But you now start to see, I used to have stomach problems, whereby like 2 weeks will not end without not having a running tummy and all that. But now I'm eating at right times, doing all those things. The stomach problems are not there. So I'm now enjoying, wow. So it can actually happen that a month ends and my stomach is not aching. Wow, so there are these small, positive rewards that I'm seeing along the way. But my father is saying, no. The day came. So we're staying Ekas. So the castles that I come from Zim. They sell goats even Ekas. So when we were going to that area, then he wants to buy his goat. He even sees it. He goes, we want to buy. But something had happened before. My mother had went into town, Harare. So as she was dropping off the bus, someone then grabbed her bag, slit it with a razor, took money, and ran away. And my father was laughing and says, a woman of your age, come on. Huh? In this just town, this town Harare, and people still at you. People, the magging happened, but it's not like prevalent as here. It's like, yeah. So she's talking how, and my father is making fun of it, Now he's Ekas, Where, those cases where people greet each other, they know each family by name and all those things. It's like you are a family, Yeah. So, and people respect the elderly, It's different from town. He's there, and while he's there, he wants to buy the goat. Hey, lo and behold, the money is stolen from him. So he comes home, he does not have money. There is no braai. What do? I continue on my journey. And one day he just reflects and he says, no, don't worry, Tinashe, I'll support you in what you're doing. Until today. So what I'm trying to say is, number one, I personally was not sure that I could reach even 21 years without not eating meat. Never. I never was thinking that. But it has ceased to be a worry these days because it's now a lifestyle. It's now like part of you. To say you grow, even there are people who, when they are vegetarians, they don't even want to go to the braais of others. But I have learned to say you need to be a light wherever that you can be. Food should not separate you from relatives, but it should bring you closer to relatives. Fine, they'll ask questions. Why don't you eat this and that? Fine, minister. That's how you educate them. Are we together? But at the end of the day, you need to be part of them. That's how you can impact them. But looking at all that, how was it possible? It's just because it was just one day at a time. Are we together? Making decisions at a time. So it's not you about worrying. Hey, so does it mean I'll never do this thing again? You know those questions, the nevers, eh? The nevers will make you remain there. Because when you do not know how, then you can't even start because you do not know how. But remember, we all need a Savior. Put the 20 years to the Lord, but you focus on a day at a time. Have a good motivation. It might be your family. It might be anyone. Go on for it. Then indeed, you'll see wonders. Can we then open up for questions? Now it seems like I'm preaching here now. Any reflections? So right now we've talked about you need a motivation. Are we together? To make a change, you need a motivation. Number 2, change is not only human action. You need God to be involved. Then, when God is involved, when God has rewired you, it's going to be now easy. And you will stop be worried about it. Then it's just years turning into years. But initially it started as a day. But all of a sudden it's there. So meaning, do not worry to say, will I ever do this? Jesus is going to take you there. Are we together? He is going to go with you. So let's make the most of ourselves. Any reflections so far? Are we good now? Okay. Let's us open up for questions and reflections then. Any reflections on what we have discussed so far? Hey, yes. Hey, oh, this church is quiet. This is afternoon lesson. Now I'm a preacher now. You want to have how many divine services? Yes, my sister.
I think I appreciated the analogy of looking at food as what it is, for what it is, right? That if you're looking at something that's not healthy, for the poison that it is, then there's a mind shift. Because for some of us, we're only thinking about the taste, right?
Yes.
And yes, you have said, no, you shouldn't eat ice cream or whatever, but I'm just thinking about, but the taste.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now that you've given us a different way of looking at it, that the taste is but a few seconds and then the taste is gone, but the poison remains. So instead of looking at it and thinking, oh, but the taste, you're looking at it and thinking, but the poison.
Yes.
Right? That it's still becoming poisonous to my body. So I think that can help. Because some of us have been trying, like we've been yo-yoing, the way it goes down, comes back up again, down and up again. So it's good, I think, to try one more time and have a mentality of I'm eating to live. Therefore, I want food that is going to benefit my body, and whatever doesn't benefit, I must look at it as poison.
Exactly. And the idea is it shouldn't be poison because it is said it is poison at church. Are we together? You know, there are those people who say, when they are not bright, so guys, what's really wrong with this meat? Let's talk here. Yeah? Let's talk here. What's really wrong with this meat? And they're like, when there are these people who are just poor, who can't afford meat, and you're allowed to give them the pulpit. Look what they're saying. This thing is fine. This thing is fine. Huh? Yeah. What is really wrong with it? So meaning, so what we need to marry with what you're saying, my sister, is knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. We say the truth shall set you free, but sometimes the truth seems as if it's tying you. I think we know this story of this guy was eating guavas during the dark. Then, during the light was on, he's eating the guavas. Ne? Then he opens one, it has worms, the next has worms. Then he sits and says, no, the guavas are fine. The problem is the light. Then he switches off the light, then he starts to eat the guavas. But remember, did the worms run away from the guavas? They did not. So that's why I'm saying, that's why you need something, a motivation. To say, in all these lessons, the challenge that we say, remember we say there are two things. It's either you're going to food because you have a problem. So how can we deal with the problem? You need a motivation. Are we together? Because problems, they might not end. They'll always be there. Pressure will always be there. We can advise and all that, but we cannot change it. But now you need a motivation. So the motivation is now, like what I say, take it even as your family. Are we together? So fine, there is this thing that has worms. And I'm saying, it does not have worms. I switched off the light. Are we together? But if I now become sick, who is it really going to benefit? Are we together? Just sit down with yourself. And as you sit down with yourself, then say, hey, I know we have one elder who was admitted recently. And he just had a lung infection. And he looked at his life to say, look, I'm the only one who works in my family. My wife doesn't mind about anything. It's me who provides. He has 3 sons, so he has his own business. So he's reflecting to say, if I go, how will my family survive? I've not even taught my wife. My wife doesn't even understand the business that I do day by day. How is she going to manage? And his prayer was, God, please give me more time. That Hezekiah prayer, that was his prayer to say, Lord, give me time to set my house in order. And he's now on his feet. And he knows, he's working towards it. So this is what I'm trying to say, that, your family can drive you to any levels. Are we together? I mean, husbands, you are tiring here. Just to make sure your child does not live the same manner that you live. Are we together? Yeah. We strive. I mean, they say a husband might not even buy shoes or whatever. They just to make sure their child also has a chance in life. So that means that's easy motivation. Because remember, even when you're trying to provide for a family, the problems are still there. Fuel is increasing. Everything is there. But as you are there at work, the thought of your family keeps you going. So that's what I'm trying to say. Use it as a motivation to change many facets of your life. Are we together? So the problem drives you to food. The motivation of your family drives you to do anything that can better your family. So look at that food. It has worms. Then this will affect me. What will happen to my children? No, let me do something. Are we together? Fine, there might be single people here. Don't worry. I mean, you also have families. Just find somewhere where you get a source of motivation. Then it's no longer how many kgs I want to lose here. It's now how can I live a life that will benefit the very people around me. Are we there, church? Yes. Picking up motivations. Then we take on the challenge. It might be heavy. We have a savior. Then we go on. Okay, that's fine. I think, is there anyone with any reflections? Yes, my sister. What time do we end orders here so that I can budget my time here? We left with 15 minutes. Good. 1:30. That's when we end. Okay.
I just want to ask on the de-learning part. Because learning, we've really taught ourselves very bad habits.
Yes.
But then the de-learning part, like how do we go about it? So that at least we can redirect to the right path.
Sure. No, that's a good one. So remember, what is learnt and memorized is the mind. And the Lord says, my son, give me your heart. So what it means is, expose yourself to the truth. Many of us are worried about the how. Have you ever realized that? How will I do it? How will I de-learn? The how will never be clarified to us. But what you need to do, so let's give for a simple example. I usually give this example of tea. Simple things, ne? Let's say you used to put 6 teaspoons of sugar in your cup of tea. Then I mean, this is beyond debatable, that extra sugar is just dangerous to you. Are we together? Yeah, we laugh at those people who take nyaope, ne? Yeah, but if you are a guy who's into these tons of sugar, you are just doing harm to yourself. So now you realize 6 teaspoons is a no-go. It's too much. Ne? It's actually too much. Maybe the least that you can do is 1 or 1 teaspoon, but not more than that. So what do? So taste is not permanent. So if you have 6 teaspoons of sugar, if you add 1, it gets to 7. It's very sweet. If you add 1 to 5, it's tasteless. The moment you reach it to 6, you can feel the taste. So meaning your body has gotten used to 6 teaspoons of sugar. So now what you do, just eat 1 teaspoon. 1 week, you are now at 5 teaspoons. When you drink tea with 5 teaspoons, it tastes like nothing. But when now you are praying, God, help me on this journey. And as you are praying, you are also sticking to the 5 teaspoon cup. No, the body can, remember, if you have a motivation, you can do that. And you know why you are doing it for that. Because the challenge, sometimes you do things, but there's nothing that we are doing for it. So you're doing this for your family or you're doing this for yourself to be in good health. So as you are going on 5, I tell you, 5 teaspoons will start to become sweet. And you hit another teaspoon down. 4 teaspoons will become sweet. Hit another teaspoon down, you get to 3. Hit another teaspoon down, you get to 1. So I tell you, it's a challenge to just drop from 6 to 0. Because if you go from 6 to 0, you can do it for like a week or 2 or a month. But you quickly now gradually start to increase until you're back to 6. But when you're doing it stepwise, you can actually see that it's your body is readjusting. Are we together? The changes are now happening. God is rewarding. But above all, continue reading. The challenge that we do is, like what God says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. If you're going to wait only for Sia, wait only for Health Day to read about health. It should now be something that you are curious about. Fine, there might be many people who are saying many things, but we have our own books, we have our own literature. Why not saturate our minds feasting in those things? It will do changes. So, and as you are doing that, remember this thing. You're not doing it to praise to people, look what I've done. No. But you are doing this because you see value in doing this, and you have a motivation, and God is in it. And indeed, you make those changes. But I'm not saying there are people like me, when I left meat, it was only one day. And I didn't went there. But there are other people who went step by step. So either way, do as the Spirit leads you. But the gist that is important is take God into it. So my question is, church, if Christ could die on the cross and say it is finished, what craving can really Christ not break? How is that, church? If Christ could die on the cross and say it is finished, what literal Christ is saying, anything that cannot make you be who I want you, it's finished. The power of the devil is finished. Elders, you are the one who teach people in Bible class. If anyone in Christ is a new creation. Fine, we are not yet there. We are on the road. That's why there's that sanctification. Are we together? We are on the road to being perfect. But nonetheless, we have been given power to make sure that we can transform our habits. So my sister, start. Don't be worried about the house. Start with what you can. Just be in the habit of making it your goal. Are we together? I want to be healthy. So start with what you can. If it's sugar, go with it. If it's meat, go with it. Do something. And you know what happens? This is a ripple effect. Like me, I just started with meat. The time meat was done, I used to struggle with these fizzy drinks. They were nothing there. They were nothing. Boom, boom, boom. I even went to the point of eating 2 meals a day. I used to be very slim. So then I realized, guys, who you attend the health seminars and they are praying for you. Lord, we pray that even those who teach us in health may also be healthy. Then I had to see that, hey, I need to be careful. I think I've pushed it too much. But what I'm trying to say, my sister, you'll be shocked with yourself. If you just, that's when you realize at the end of the day that this is no longer me that is at work here. There's now a power that is working within me. But the challenge is start. So where we all fail is we do not start. And even when we start, we are still worried. How long will it be? Put those worries away. The battle is the Lord's. Even when this thing has been done, some will stop exercising. No, it means you had the wrong motivation. These hours that you are giving people, I don't know if you are doing, that should not be a motivation. Fine, it's good because you just want people to do. But let it not be your motivation because you need to win a award. It's something that's cheap. Get something that's deep, something that's meaningful to you. And when you have it, indeed you will. Or even if you don't, do it for the glory of God. Yes, my brother.
Is it on now? Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, okay, so the first question is this one. GMOs.
Yes.
Genetically modified foods.
Yep.
So here's a study done by Steinhoff, and it says by 2030,
yep,
most of the seeds
are
going to be genetically modified.
Sure.
Yes. So, and then it says also, and we also know the dangers of genetically modified foods include organ failures and permanent brain damage, toxic blood clots. These are some of the dangers of these foods. So I just want to take, what is your take on that?
Sure.
That's
Love
the first part. Sorry. Then the second question,
Yes.
I hope you remember everything.
Yes.
Then the second question is this. You said just now
Ah.
that food and diet should not separate us from families.
Exactly.
Should not separate families. So I wanted to ask, there's some preachers who come to Kempton Park Central SDA Church and say that, wait, I need to read this nicely. Yeah, I'm quoting someone. It says, those who eat meat may not see the kingdom of heaven. I've heard this said before so many times. So what is your take on those two questions? Thank you.
Very good and pertinent questions. So the funny thing about these health messages is the questions always remain the same. They never change. So let's start with the GMO. So what we need to be careful. So I think this way the church needs to tread softly. If I may ask, how many GMO foods do you know that are in the market? Right. There are a lot, is it? And you can't even put a count. And even you might buy food and it will have even just an addition to it. So what we need to be careful is the body needs to live. And for the body to live, it needs nutrients. So our challenge as nutritionists, we are so much worried when people talk about food and they ignore about nutrients. Are we together? So GMO is a food. What does the GMO contain is what we need to be worried about. Indeed, we cannot deny there are all these concerns to say this might happen to that and that. But to cut the story short is we have, so what I can say is we have people from industry, then we have people who are doing the actual research. So the simple how we do research, we categorize it to say there's what we observe and there's what we actually test. So the challenge with what you observe is it might not always be true. Let me give you an example. If let's say it rains right now and you see everyone with an umbrella, does it mean that the umbrella causes the rain? But they are associated, is it? So meaning you need to, for us to say what causes rain, it means that thing, if we do it now, the rain should actually fall. So when we are looking at nutrition studies, people who say we have observed this and this, or this does this and this, we don't even listen to them. Are we together? I think maybe COVID has taught us something. We are being told about random controlled trials. Remember the COVID trials? Let's give people, there's COVID, let's give them, let's see what they do, isn't it? So to cut the story short is there are many noises about GMOs, do this and do this. And then people then push the narrative to say, dig your own food, to go organic, is it? And organic is way, way expensive. Are we together? And what is available is very affordable. So at the end of the day is, where do you find yourself if you're going to give advice to a person? Are you going to tell them, don't take GMOs? And they go in every shop, they hold their food, they read an ingredient, they put aside. They go in any home, they now ask, can I see the packet of your pap here? And all that. Ne? And that person is only worried about food. They ignore about the nutrients that they're getting in. So to me, the research is not strong, my brother, to say GMOs cause this. That's just noise. There's just too much noise. It's all observational. GMOs have been there for quite a long time. If they were really causing all those damages, we don't even need a study. I mean, we'll just see our numbers going down. But for us, it's just kind of strange to say, how can someone want to tamper with DNA? You know, we think someone is playing God. Are we together? Because he's playing with the actual. But remember, church, this issue of modifying is not new. Have you ever realized that someone, I don't know if you grew up where there are cows? But I think you've seen it. Someone will buy a bull, a very healthy bull. And that breed is different from the others that he has. But that's the only one. He castrates the rest. He allows only that one to rear up offspring for his cow. But what is he doing? He's modifying his genome. He's changing the variety. But he's just doing it through using a cow. So someone can also see to say, look, we have drought here. Ne? Like water, we have water issues. Climate change is happening. How can we have crops that are drought resistant? So it's only that we are not farmers. But if you can see, there are always varieties that are coming up. Are we together? But what are they doing? They can either be breeding, or nowadays they can actually modify it so that it is good quality. But coming on the nutritional value, say for animal products, where those that are genetically modified, they have too much fat. But on the plant side, there isn't much noise that's coming there. But however, you hear that on the side where people are always worried to say this. But the studies are just them observing, but really giving people food and saying they'll become sick. That is far from the truth. The second question, getting close to your people and the issue about that. So church, we need to be honest with each other. You see, there's a challenge whereby you have a lifestyle. Like God is urging you to do something. And when now you are struggling to do something, then you want to rewrite that thing. I think we all know, church, when we are all going to heaven, there's no animal which is going to eat even any animal. Are we at pardon? And even there's the diet in Eden is the diet that will be in heaven. That's a given. So Ellen White writes and says, this is a quotation, last day events, that I saw that those that were ready for translation, they had settled the meat issue in their hearts. So church, let's not run the risk of now trying to rewrite scriptures to say, so will I be translated? The text just says, those that were ready for translation, they had settled the meat issue. But she writes in another text, it says, meat eating should not be made a test to what? To faith. Are we together? So let's bring these two scriptures. Meat eating should not be a test of faith. So meaning, I can't say because you eat meat, Mina are more spiritual than you. That's a lie. Are we together? At the foot of the cross, you are all what? Level. But I can't lie to you. You eat poison. Sorry, I'm using poison. I don't have slides. I usually say this when I show the slides. But we can't deny. They've taken time and I'm sold a few minutes, so I'm just making the most of the time. I can give you links. I have a video recording on this, elders here, so let me make the most of my time. So church, it's in 2001. WHO came and said meat causes cancer. Meat causes cancer. It even got to a point of giving people grams. Are we together? To say like so it's 75 grams of processed meat that you eat, you increase your risk of developing colorectal cancer by 17%. So when a health body comes to that, it's saying on the wealth of evidence that we have gathered, we have come to this conclusion. So remember what I was saying to say, what we call evidence is when you literally have given people something and they develop that. So meaning, if I can ask in church, is there a verse which says thou shalt not smoke? Elders, give me a verse which says thou shalt not smoke. Why don't you smoke? And do you know smoking only became hazardous in health in the 1950s? Do you know that? Our pioneers in the Adventist, some of them had pipes. Do you know that? Bazalwan. Which Adventist church? Oh, sorry. Now I'm getting out of order now. Pull me, elders. Guys, read the history of your church. Smoking. People used even to think that when you smoke, you become healthy. Yeah. So it's only as the research increased where people realize, no, really smoking it's only in the 1950s. So now, it's now not debatable to us. Are we together? That smoking is this hazardous. But I tell you, have you ever checked what is changing? Like right now in South Africa, there were people who were saying, don't market vegetarian sausages as sausages. Did you see that? Some of you who travel a lot, go overseas, this issue of being plant-based is like wildfire. Listen to people what they're talking about climate change and the issue of going plant-based. It's now strong. Actually, the greatest proportion maybe of people who don't eat meat might not even be Adventist. Are we together? But when now we have the message, the challenge now is, you think, remember where we have messed the story. Fine, meat is a struggle. You are struggling. Are we together? But while you are struggling, you think you are the problem. No, you are a leopard who cannot change its fault. You need a savior. You failed to use a savior. You now want to rewrite quotations. They should not say. No, if they say it to divide people, they are wrong. But if they lie now to say, eat meat as you want, that's a lie now. Are we together? Yeah, that's a lie. Ask that person, please give me my old term religion. Are we together? We can't come here and say, how many pieces of meat do you need? Now we have lost it. We really have lost it. There we need to be baptized again. The quotation is as it is because that is what is beneficial to us. And I tell you, like in 5 or 10 years, follow the trend. We won't be debating about meat. We won't be debating about it. So therefore, it makes me have conviction to say, as we near towards the end, because remember, Christ is saying, and this gospel shall be preached to the ends of the world, and the end shall come. Light, my brother, will come in its totality. And therefore, it will be easier to people to settle these decisions in their heart. But we can't lie to ourselves to say that quotation is not there. It's there. Actually, I don't know, maybe you guys grew up in the olden days, maybe our fathers there, where people had the E.G. White library. Now, even if you search on your phone, you can search it and you can find it. So, meaning this thing is what is there. Sorry, I think for the slides, time is done here. We'll look at it at the last. Maybe what you could do, can you scroll back a little bit? Just scroll back a little bit. Okay, so the essence here, what I'm just trying to espouse here is, okay, so if you go on the next. Okay, so the issue is when you look at what man designs these days, I mean, you really are in awe. Wow, can someone think of this? This is like a building in Dubai, which rotates. Are we together? Like in real life, it rotates. And like, wait, man, where do those people think, You are really shocked. Are we together? The next slide. But if you look at God, things that God has created, it's almost like when God is saying it's very good, elders here, I think it was not fully formed. Are we together? You tend doubt to say, I think man now is more sophisticated than God. We know God is God, fine, but when you are saying it's very good, what was really very good? Are we together? Yeah, what was really very good? I mean, if you look at the foods, have you seen the meals that people prepare, Bazalwan? Hey. But when you look at the food as natural as it is, and you look at the finished product, you can't relate the two. But this is where you need to sit down and try to put yourself in a good thinking space. Are we together? Because God was not lying when he said it was very good. So a simple example. Goliath is hit by how many stones? 5 pebble stones. But Goliath had a big sword that was carried by someone. Do you know that when Daniel and his friends make a decision on diet, they were eating pulses? Do you know a pulse, how small it is? They're not eating the lentils. We know how lentils, how small lentils is. But God used lentils so that people were eating lentils. They became very much healthier compared to people who are eating big drumsticks. Actually, the Bible says, my elder, they were fatter. When now you want us to lose weight, they were fatter. The text says they were 3 times what? Fatter. So what makes sense is it is not the food that made them what? Fatter. Are we there, church? Yeah, because lentils and water don't make you fat. What makes you fat is wine. Ne? Wine and meat foods. Actually, when we are giving diet, we say 1 gram of alcohol has 7 units of energy. 1 gram of fat has 9. And 1 gram of protein has 4. Then vegetables, they have 0 units of energy. Then when you look at carbohydrates, they have 1 unit of energy. And those beans only had 4. So you have someone who, when they are sitting on the table, before you start to count the kgs that they've eaten, they have 7 from what? From wine. They have another 4 plus 4 because it's protein and fat. They have 8. Ne? So they're already at 15, where now he's just at 4. And by top of that, he's not drinking any juice or fruits. He's drinking water. Then that guy is 3 times fatter. It's not the food. So the gist is, why is it very good? Because God stands to back his product. Are we there? People manufacture their products and they ignore them. Are we together? But God is not marketing, my elder. He is with the food. When it's in your tummy, he is with the food. So then if you fast forward, that's why I'm saying, let's really look at this. It is very good. Fast forward, my sister. Fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. Fast forward, fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. Fast forward. Yes, wait there. Go back a little bit. So when you now look at this now, so this is the last, give me 3 minutes, I'm done here. So you see, we're now getting into a struggle where you have cholesterol levels that go up. Are we together? So maybe our parents are now in these issues. They say, oh, your blood cholesterol is high. So what you then do is, when you take medication for cholesterol, it also increases your risk of having diabetes. So you go to the doctor, are we together, with cholesterol issues. In no time you're going to come to the doctor. Now you have cholesterol, now you have diabetes. Because the drugs that are used, they have a 30%. They increase your risk of diabetes by 33%. Hey, now you are saying, hey. Now you are thinking of your families now. And when now you are here, you want us to rewrite the Bible. Listen now. Listen. So what then happens? That's what I'm saying, that when God is saying it is very good, it's very good. So what they do, this is just like 4 weeks. So they put people who have very high cholesterol levels. So the blue is just the control diet. So the control diet is those generic things that we tell you to say, please. Remember, even we advise about meat. They train us to advise about meat. If you're eating meat, eat 2 matchboxes size. You know a matchbox size? When now you eat, this is your meat size. Ne? The healthy size is 2 matchbox sizes. When now with your hands, these are your sizes of meat. So we tell you, take 2 matchbox sizes of what? Of meat. Please take salt in moderation. Please stay away from white bread. Are you following? This is the control what? Control diet. Then the control diet plus statin. This is the drug now called statin. So the control diet on its own only lowers cholesterol by minus 8.5%. When you put now the diet and you have drugs, it makes your cholesterol go to minus 33.3%. It drops. But remember, this thing is going to make you have what? Diabetes. So fine, your cholesterol levels are low, but we know you're going to come back. But now, this is what you call a dietary portfolio. It takes you to 30%. It has no side effects. But what does it constitute? We just told you, my brother, can you have something which is soya beans? My brother, viscous fiber, any cabbage, any nuts, almonds. Are we together? Then these are just plant oils. So by making sure you have nuts, you have a vegetable, you have a soya protein, and these oils, don't worry, they are in all vegetables. The person is able to lower to 36. And what is this? Isn't this our health message? This is our health message. Ne? But it is the world now who is making money. Are we together? And we are like, hey, my brother, this quotation, my brother, you're not being an extremist. Church, truth is truth, and it's for our own what? Good. But let's make sure we are not digging grave with our teeth. Because even when the grave is there, you are not the only one who will be crying, who will also be crying. So it is my prayer, let's start any way that we can. We indeed have a good health message. I think that's the last quotation on this one. Go back. The last quotation that we end with. The last slide, actually. The last slide. There are other things like beans. You don't like beans, you guys, is it? A bonus. People don't like beans here, ne? The elder is looking at me. You don't like beans? I know Adventist. Heartburn. You don't like beans. Okay, a bonus, elder. I don't come here often. Why? What do you want to run to do home there? Let's empower you. Free information. Go forward, my sister. Let's just speak about beans here. Go a little bit back. Church. I think when we go to heaven, we'll be crying. I think so. We'll really be crying. To say, God, how are we so fools? How are we so fools that this thing is literally in front of our eyes and we never even saw its value? Are we together? They say the greatest thing to see is something that you have. Church, you are right. There are also others who run with the wrong gospel. Ne? There's this gospel of olive oil and expensive vegetarian diet. Are we together? Please, bring them to us. We can school them well. You see, God has made it so possible that anyone can live healthy. That's why I say we are going to cry. We are really going to cry. You know that message, you say, why waste money for that which is not food? My elder, anyone here can afford to live healthy at no cost. Because the things that make life tick, who cannot afford cabbage here? Cabbage, Morocco. This is what is lowering cholesterol. Eh? Where now you just want us in our white lab coats. Then we are sitting, hey, my brother, okay, no, that's fine. Do you have a medical aid? And we don't see you in certain hospitals when you don't have a medical aid. But when this is close to you, and you are just saying, I'm tired of these vegetables. All right, let's cool you a little bit. Give us 2 minutes here. Right, so what happens is, God goes with his food. Beans, as simple as they are, guys, this is a natural anti-diabetic. And natural anti-diabetic means it controls your blood sugar levels. Some of us, when you think that is healthy, with the COVID here, most of us became health reformers here. We're now drinking lemon tea, drinking ginger. Hey, the health message, my elder. It had many adherents. I have even a brother who stopped eating meat completely. And when he was not eating meat, he's calling me, my brother, you still eat 3 meals, I eat 2. He's now hammering the quotations because he was, he got COVID and he was afraid to be tested. But when he became well now, 2 months later, hey, Muna, kunjani? Hey, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. All right, let's run, Bazalan. Okay, so beans, magic here, magic. Well, so beans does this magic. So what they did is, so beans is what you call a second meal effect. Are we together? A second meal effect. In saying that, when you eat beans in a meal, you eat rice, ne? When you eat rice, it's going to make your sugar levels go up. Anything that is sugar, your bread, your potatoes, they make your sugar levels to go up. But beans has this something. We are still trying to find it, man. That's why we love research, because we are trying to find the magic of God. Because God hides complex things in simple packages. Are we together? Yeah. And when he has hid complex things in simple packages, he stands with them. So that it will not fail on its own because he is there. Are we together? So with this beans now, we're still trying to find what is that happens. But this is what people are seeing. It makes the sugar levels of your meal not go up. Not only of the meal that you are eating, but even of the second meal. So today you have eaten beans with your rice, with your veggies. Ne? When you're going to eat something, even if it's going to be a potato, your sugar level will not go up because you ate beans before. So this is not information whereby someone will say, beans is a second meal effect. Come on. Bazalwan, we do research. This is our job. If you just tell us this is what you think, we tell you, hey, Wena, sit down. But people did here is, no, let's test this thing. So what we do, we take people. So when we take people, we throw a dice. You guys, some people like soccer. Who's going to take the first ball? This is what we call randomization, by random. You don't say, Wena, I'm going to give you beans. Actually, you might not even know that it is beans that you're eating when we blind. So, but with these ones, they really wanted, because remember, there's also what you call a placebo effect, ne? Where someone just thinks that if I go to the doctor, I'll be well, and they are well. The doctor does nothing. It's called the white coat effect. Just think that white coat, they are well. They are well. So we want to remove that. So how do we do? Let's randomize. So we just come, see, that side, that side, Budi, that side. Random. Are we together? So now I'm going to give you things which do not have beans. Are we together? So I only give you rice. I'll give you what? What do you like? So I give you rice and a salad. Are we together? There's no beans. You are actually my intervention. You are my control. So I'm going to give you rice, salad, and I'll add beans. So the difference between these groups should only be beans. The number of women and men should be equal. The ages, we also try to match them. If you are sick, we even screen. Do you have any sugar issues? We put you aside. Those who do not have sugar issues, we are in. Because our question is, we want to see, if we give you beans and others we don't give you beans, what happens to your sugar? So, but see now the magic. So this is part A here. those who have salad, rice, and beans, which is A. Those who have rice and salad only. Then we have what you call washout period. So we say, hey, Bazolan, you have eaten this meal. We see beans is having those second meal effect. So what you want to do is, those that were eating rice and salad with no beans, we want you now to eat beans. That is the washout. Meaning, we are now going to swap the sides. Because if we just go home and say, hey, these guys were eating beans and it lowered the second, you can say, hey, there's something special about these people. Let's swap these guys who are not eating beans and their sugar levels are going up. Let's see if we now give them beans, is it going to go down? This is the washout period. Then we swap now. Are we together? So meaning, that's why you see the blue is up, the black is down now. So the ones which are blue, which were getting, these were getting rice, these were rice and salad. Ne? They are now getting rice, salad, and beans. These were beans, rice and what? And salad. They now have rice and salad. So the difference here is beans. And what do they see? Next slide, my sister. So they see that this is maintained. Are we together? Here we have the control here, which is up here. Are we together? Then here we have black beans. Then we have what? We have chickpeas. Ne? So this is in a moment of hours, in 2 hours. Are we together? But when now you're like, beans, hot bean. Do you know there are these tablets that you take and you eat as if you are taking metal? Have you ever seen it? They have a metallic taste. Eh? Even when you drink them, my order, you're like, you don't even allow it to stay in the mouth. You just want it to go in the tongue. But when now you are just crying about heartburn, when you have medicine here, just see. So this is saying that sugar has gone up from 0 to 40. Are we together? It goes up. Then the question is issued, quickly come down. So why 2 hours? When we are testing you for type 2 diabetes, are we together? We give you 70 grams of sugar to test. It's called an oral glucose tolerance test. Are we together? To test that, how high. So the sugar going high, fine, at the first week, it's fine. The question, it should not remain high. Are we together? It remains high, therefore it means your body is not being able to manage to reduce it. Are we together? So that's why we have to take it up to 2 hours. Then our cutoff points here of whether you are diabetic or not are at 2 hours. To say if your diabetes is like above 11 here, then you have diabetes at 2 hours. If it's above 11.1, are we together? So we are not worried about here. So fine, it's up. Look here. How at 60 minutes, it's already on point with no drug, beans only. And how many varieties of beans are there? Plenty. Black beans, chickpeas, lentils, sugar beans. And when you are just like meat is causing cancer. Something is reducing your sugar. Are we together? So really, that's why I'm saying we're going to cry in heaven. Because when all is laid bare, when you are saying, so you're saying you've brought us here and there's no meat. You're not serious. You're not serious. You're not serious. Eh? You are serious, church. You are serious. Fine, me when my parents' relatives visit, coming to you, I buy chicken from my relatives. But while they're eating their chicken, I'm eating the food. I won't force people. Actually, don't do that, church. Don't force people to convert because we have changed. Are we together? Give them, but be an example. As you're an example, you make it easier for them. So I've been staying with my young brother. We buy chicken for him once in a while. Now he's saying, please don't worry about chicken. Please don't worry about meat. I don't really need meat every day. I only take meat at special occasions. So it just shows that we have made an impact. Are we together? So really, may God bless us. So the gist was re-looking at it was very good. Why are we re-looking? We are now confused. Because we think food preparation is the magic. No. The Creator has loaded simple foods with complex benefits. So it's not only a diet. It has been come from heaven's hand. Are we together? It's almost like food coming from heaven. Though it's simple, Bazalwane, it's extremely complex. If we start to untangle it, hey, actually, I think we'll go to heaven not even knowing why beans does this. Are we together? I'm telling you, we can actually go to heaven not even knowing. Not even knowing. Really. But God is not worried about us knowing. God is worried about us experiencing the what? The miracle. Are we together? Yeah. So let's enjoy the miracle. Leave people like us who are crazy, who wants to just know, who enjoy knowing. And us getting lost, but we know it will be clarified in heaven. But don't waste time digging your grave with your teeth. Amen. So let's stand up and pray. Let's stand up and pray. The elder wants to.
Thank you. What does the church say?